cultivating a kindred. And this is applicable to life in general, not stifling belief practices. To give some context / reference, I'm sure we've all had these conversations. I actually cited this in another video, I can't remember which one, but I remember having conversations with other heathens online about what we should and shouldn't believe. I remember this specific group was called the Troth, even though it wasn't the Troth. For some reason, they decided to co-opt the name, even though they weren't the actual Troth, which was really confusing because that's why I joined the group. I believe they posted something about kneeling in supplication as part of a heathen practice, as like a historical reference for something that was done. There was a Tumblr blogger who was kind of the instigator of that idea, that mindset. I don't think he blogs anymore. He was called Grumpy Loki and Elder. I've seen some interesting stuff. Like I said, I don't think he posts anymore. He had posted about different archaeological evidence that suggested that we, back in the day, back in the Archean times, so Viking Age, pre-Viking Age, had knelt in supplication, which for a lot of Aussetruer, it's a big taboo thing because we don't kneel in supplication, we don't submit ourselves, right? That's kind of a big overarching philosophical bit. And I talked a little bit about that in my Blow Stumble and Worship video. It's kind of my mindset is not supplicating myself. I don't kneel because I'm unworthy or feel that I'm lesser. The actual stance isn't the point of this video. The point is that we got into this large argument that really went nowhere because it was all about belief, and you really can't quantify belief, which is one of the reasons I actually take a more practical approach instead of a literal approach. I really disagreed with what they said, but it got really dumb. This argument got dumb, and like even though I kept going because ego mostly, it didn't get either of us anywhere. You know, I felt they were Christ a true, which I decided to call them. Literally one of the guys had said something that sounded like it was straight up like a John the Baptist thing. Like when God reveals himself and his like eyes crust over, or I think the guy said something about if Odin appeared to him, he dropped to his knees and his eyes would crust over. That's literally from the Bible. But anyway, obviously I still have my reservations about the conversation. That event really impacted me because it started making me think about how we tend to thrust our ideas onto others. I say this as a guy with a religious YouTube channel. But we tend to project what we want to see onto other people, not just in a religious context. We'll do this with politics. We'll do this with, just the regular things we do in life. We tend to, as a society, we want to grab people and mold them to our idea, our perception, our schema. And that's wrong to do. The reason it's wrong is because you don't know what somebody's path is. You don't know the events in their lives that have led them to where they're at. They might have certain preferences, certain tastes that gravitate them in certain directions. And the same goes for religious practice. You don't know what that person needs in their life. Like my father, for example, a recovering drug addict who once my grandparents, his mother and father had passed away. He was already a very strong Christian, but he kind of solidified his faith a little bit more because that helped him cope with that. So it would be wrong of me to shake up his world and try to destroy his faith when that's something that helps him out as a person. I think that's the golden rule is this belief, is this action helping them out as a person. You'll notice a common theme in a lot of my videos is I take a more psychological, analytical approach to belief. And that's simply because I think that's the purpose of religion. I think there's a reason that different people on different paths need different paths. They need different belief systems or ways of looking at things that'll help them out in that moment. Maybe tomorrow you, instead of Odin, decide to follow Thor, or maybe tomorrow you're a Buddhist, or next week from now you decide to travel to Spain and become a teacher. People follow different paths for different necessities for themselves. Like I was saying, the gauge on that is it a positive move or is it a negative move? Obviously, if somebody is using a mindset or an ideology to hurt people, that's bad. And this is a libertarian in me coming out a little bit, but I think imposition of will is a big factor there. With my kindred, I would never tell somebody that they can kneel at their altar or set it up a certain way, or they can't attend a Wiccan ceremony or something like that. Or even just try to fill in the gaps of a little bit of Wicca. I don't know what they need. I mean, there are even people in our kindred that don't consider themselves Auschwitz or heathen. They, at this point in their lives, gravitate towards Auschwitz or heathen. And obviously, they're connected to us as a group, and that's our base. But it would be wrong of me to tell somebody else how to live their lives. That's essentially it. When it comes to group like Blow, Ensemble, stuff like that, I try to keep everything on a certain track. We've even had, not necessarily members of the kindred, but family members of kin that were Christian, and I was just going to sound weird, but they were comfortable only with hailing their God in that moment. And I know that sounds weird. I know that seems like a little counterintuitive, but think about Frith. Frith means peace, directly translated, but it's a little bit more than that. Frith is relations. It's how we interact. It's kind of the balance of communal respect and acknowledgement. Frith is a very, very important concept that doesn't get as much lip service as it should in heathenry. It's a little bit. You should extend that to not just the kindred itself, but obviously to our personal inner guard. I think I've explained in other videos that inner guard, right? That's your close family, friends, the people you're close to, and you have the outer guard, which is everybody outside of that. It's everything outside of your social bubble. The modern analogy for that. Just going forward, think about how you interact with people in general, whether they're kindred, family, friends, acquaintances. It's not up to us to decide what's best for somebody else. Gillette actually had a really good analogy when he was talking about libertarianism. Obviously paraphrasing because I can't remember the exact quote, but I make decisions in my life and I don't necessarily know if those are the correct action. So how am I going to know what's correct action in somebody else's life? So please like, subscribe, comment, do all the things. Patreons and a subscribe star now. Put links in the description below. Once I get up to $500 a month, I will start creating benefits for folks. Obviously, higher tiers get higher benefits. And it's most likely going to be statues of various deities and archetypes. Feel free to share this video if you like it. Comment down below and tell me if you don't like it, if you disagree in some way, and tell me why. I like to start more of a dialogue. I'd rather have a conversation than just dictate to you the contents of my brain. Stall.